And she told me what's going on. I said, okay, send me what you got. And I said, oh, my God, look at this nonsense. Oh, I'm not reading this. I'm not putting up with this. I'd rather step on a thumbtack than read this stuff. This is ridiculous. I can't do this. So I sent her to Greg. Give me the highlights. Well, what does she want? She wants the kids back. Okay, great. I said, here you go, lady. All you got to do is say this.
Okay. And was it 4 or 5 kids?
She said it was 4. I thought it was 5.
Okay, all right.
So it was right.
And what did she say? That it wasn't until she referred to them as children?
It wasn't until she referred to them as her property that the courts get really upset, because the state can't make a claim for property. Even though the 1933 Act, the Gold Act, 1933, everybody knows that, it says all property now reverts to the state. Okay, great. You know what? That's in a two-dimensional world. Okay, that's an administrative court. Okay, you can't use that in a common law court, the 1933 Act. Say, well, it says clearly here in the 1933 Act that all property now resides in the state. Yeah, great. Wonderful. Prove that has anything to do with my property. Whose property? My property? Karl Lentz's property? Expressly my property? No. That's vague. All property now lies in the state. I don't give a crap. I'm not going to sit here and try to decipher what some guy wrote in 1933. It ain't got a damn thing to do with me. So this is what I'm going to tell the lady. We live in a common law land. And these people are terrified of that fact. They want to turn this into a code land and executive order land like you have no idea. But as long as we still live in a common law land, all you have to do is, like I said to the lady, I said, did they steal your property? Was it a theft? Was it a robbery? And she had no idea where she was going. I said, look, ma'am, robbery means they physically took your property while you were present by physical force. Theft means they snuck in the middle of the night while you're sleeping, and you can't point across the courtroom and say, I saw that lady take my property. Did you physically see somebody touch your children, or did they do it at school? If they did it at school, it's a theft. If they did it in front of your face, it's a robbery, and that's violent, and that's big-time crime. That's a big-time claim. She said, oh, no, they definitely took them right in front of our face. Oh, and you could point across the room and point that lady out who touched your child. She said, absolutely. So, you got a case. So the judge seen these magic words. You don't say they took my property, they stole my property, it was a theft. You say robbery. And the judge knows exactly what you're talking about, and that you know what you're talking about. So I said, the claim is a trespass. Trespass means any wrong. That's what I said to everybody. All cases are the same, and all cases are unique. So people say, well, you're talking riddles. So I said, okay, the nature of the case is always going to be a trespass, that they did you wrong. That's the nature. There's a wrong. Without a wrong, there is no case. Now, the characteristics of the wrong is always going to be different. Everybody's going to sing or interpret their wrong to be unique. That's your case. Your case is always going to have a trespass, and it's always going to have the characteristic that describe the trespass. So I said to the lady, exactly what did they do? I said, oh, good. That's a robbery. Now, did I use a fancy word like they administrated my property without any rights? No. She could physically say in one word robbery what 1,000 pages could have to explain and show in detail, and videotapes and everything else. Just say robbery. I'm claiming they robbed me of my property, and I want my property back now. And for every day that you hold that property without right, I'm claiming $1,000 a day. And then the last line was, but if you give my property back immediately, I'll forgive you of your trespass of my property as I would wish others to forgive my trespass upon their property. And then they just finally said, you know what, we're going to return her property. But the Lord's Prayer says, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Right, but under the Protestant King James Version, it's please forgive me of my debt as I'd want those to forgive me of my debt that I owe them. See, the Catholic version in the Lord's Prayer is trespass. In the King James Version of the Bible, it's debt. Because people in England came over to the United States because they were like shipped over from like debtors' prisons. So they're like, you know what, we're tired of being shipped all around the world because we owe $5. So how about we make it a rule in this country that we'll forgive each other of their debts? How about we make that as a general rule? And there you go.
I learned the Lord's Prayer both ways. Forgive us our debt as we forgive our debtors.
Right. And that's
our trespasses. It's interesting, isn't it?
Right, because the people who came over to this country, that's their Bible. And they got tired of being shipped over to this country, and they said, no more. We're not going to do to each other what England did to us. So when they landed in the New World, they said, you know what, we are going to forgive those debt against us, as we'd want them to forgive us of our debts. So that way we're not getting shipped away from our families off to Australia next. Next thing you know, we're going to be in Antarctica. Who knows where they're going to bring us? So they got tired of it. So that's the whole thing about trespass and debt. So I think it worked out really good for the lady. I can't believe when she told me, when she told me, man, that she cross-examined that lady on the stand. It's like, you did not do that. She said, yes. I was like, oh, okay, you know what? My claim is like 95% tight because you did mess around with my words a little bit. Send it back to me, and I'll tighten that thing up, and I'll really put the fear of thunder into this judge's shorts. And she says, oh, no, don't worry. It worked out fine. We're getting our kids back on Fridays. Oh, thanks, lady. I said,
wow, isn't that awesome? And how long have they had him? I mean, how long have they been taken away from her?
5 months.
5 months.
And you heard
man.
You heard her say that they had already called up the ex-husband and the ex-wife. They had already promised the ex-husband and ex-wife a place to live for free, like transportation, free medical, if they would just take these kids. So see, they were the
Children's Services? Okay.
Yeah, they were promising the ex that, look, we'll make them pay you child support, so instead of you paying them, they will start paying you. So
what was their reason for doing that?
To tear the families apart.
That's their reason.
That's it. And to prove
okay, well, let me ask you this. Why did they take her children away to begin with? What was the reason?
They were colorful people, and I don't really want to get into anything personal unless Jesse wants to tell you. But they
well, they weren't beating them or anything, were they?
No, no, ma'am. I don't really want to. They were not doing the standard normal thing. That was, the U.S. government DA approved. For them, they were doing something that was not, what society felt was normal. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Until right.
I think any of us do that. I mean, right?
Right.
None of us do what is considered normal. If it was, I don't know. They've got so many, like, gazillion laws to break. So they must not think we're normal. Right?
I think the only thing she wouldn't mind me saying is they basically said failure to thrive, and then we'll just leave it at that.
Failure to thrive? Oh, so they were vegetarians?
Yeah, something like that. They were good, colorful people. They're just like the guests you have on your show all the time, like a Boris kind of guy. Transcendental meditation, let's hug in harmony and love and peace each other.
I don't have a problem with that at all.
But me, I have no clue, and I don't want to know, and I just want to raise, cattle and tomatoes. I'm a happy guy. I don't want to get into anything.
Are the children going to be happy to go home?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's no doubt about it. They'll love the kids to death. But like I said, they were just really squeezing these people by not letting them see the kids and just, they were just torturing these guys, trying to break them. I said, do not read. Yeah.
5 months.
She said that like each kid had there was a whole bunch of doctors and they had all kinds of proof that the kids were doing horrible in their care and they had 6-inch thick documents. That's what I said. Don't you pick up that case file. Don't you read it. Well, it's like it's going to break your heart. Don't do it. It's going to twist your mind and destroy your brain. You got to concentrate on what I'm doing. I'm telling you, lady, do what I say. I'm telling you. You don't know me from Adam. I'm telling you. Don't listen to these other people. Say, well, that's exculpatory evidence, and you're going to find them. You're going to take this apart, and you're going to show each standing and precedent in their case and where they can't. I said, ma'am, don't look at it. Just look forward. Look at the goal line. This is where we got to go. We got to go on offense. We got to move forward. You can't play defense because the only thing you can do as a defendant is stand still or go backwards. You got to keep moving forward if you want to win. So she's like, okay. I said, don't. I'm telling you. And now she wants to read it because now she's going to sue everybody for making a false claim and everything.
Well, good for her.
But see what I'm saying? How hard it is for people to believe a total stranger like me? She doesn't know me. So
when it's your kids and everything else has failed and you want your kids back, you do whatever you think sounds feasible, right?
But still, it's a leap of faith to try. That's why I made a website like 2-3 months ago. And so I could show people. I showed you. That was like birdmind.org.
Yeah, but what's on there? You got a bunch of kitties on that one video, and then there's a bunch of poster shots of you like you're some pin-up in a magazine.
No, that's just me. That's just me.
Posing like you're selling cars or something.
My wife
off that car.
My ex-wife took a picture of me in McDonald's parking lot.
Oh, really? But your hood is up.
That's in Las Vegas. That's up on Rainbow Road, up by Cheyenne Craig Road up there. That's up in the northwest part of Vegas.
Yeah.
See the palm tree in the back. That's all.
But what does that have to do with, anything that you talk about?
So people could see that I'm just a normal schmo.
Oh.
So people can see that.
They can tell that by listening to you talk.
But then when people don't know what I look like, they're like, well, and then when people see what I look like I said, when I used to work for a computer company, Sony and Dell, when I worked for them, and I said the people would be like, I'll never learn this. I said, go to the company website, click on the picture of me. I'm like, oh my God, that's you? I said, you think some meatball like me can figure out computers? You think you look smarter than me? And people are like, well, I said, honestly, you do, don't you? Well, yeah. Well, there you go. If I could do it, you certainly could do it. I look like some biker. So if I could do it, don't you think you could do it? I said, I didn't make it past 10th grade. Did you go fast past me? Yeah, and I'm teaching you how to work your computer. So believe me, you'll figure it out. It's not rocket science. So it just calms everybody down when you show a picture of who you are. And you say, wow, this is just some schmo who lives up in the mountains in the middle of nowhere, chopping down trees with a whole bunch of cows and cats running around. He's not an Oxford law student. He's not Yale. I'm not a Cambridge Rhodes Scholar. I'm just some schmo. But I know very basic, simple law. And this is all you need to do. And don't let them distract you with all this mumbo-jumbo legalese stuff and all the stuff that people try to sell on these YouTube things. It's just distracting. Just say, do you have a right to touch my property? Yes or no? And like I said, like you said, well, that's an old style, 1950s daddy style. Still holds true. Do you have a right to touch my property? Yes or no? Well, that's a code. That's a privilege, an obligation, or a duty. But is it a right? No, it's not a right. Do I have the right to claim that property, an exclusive, have that property in my, enjoy it exclusive to all others within society? Is that my property? And she said when her and the judge sat down, they said that when they put that little habeas corpus thing in, but I don't call it habeas corpus, like restoration of property. Compare that with habeas corpus of the Canada Charter, blah, blah, blah. He came down, and she handed it to the clerk of the court. She gave it to the clerk of the court. The clerk of the court ran upstairs and got the judge, the head judge. Head judge called her into a conference room. This was moving like lightning now. This was like 2 weeks ago. And he said, ma'am, we don't like using the word property. Can you put the word children in instead? And she was a little under pressure because she was intimidated because this is the head judge. And she agreed. And she called me back up and said, ma'am, one more time, you're going to play it my way or I'm out of here. You are not going to change one word because the judge just saw that you committed perjury. Now, when you say something, you've got to stick to it to the letter until the day you die. I said, if you don't understand what it means keeping your word, the judge is going to see right through you. Now, you're adamant and you stand like a nail and you will not bend. And you let him keep hitting you, but you keep saying, that's my word and I'm sticking to it, and you're going to prevail. I'm telling you, if you let him manipulate your words or your language, you will automatically fail. He'll realize he's dealing with a clown, a dishonorable person. You will lose immediately. So she's like, okay. I said, now just really get this fortitude and built up and pump yourself up and say, this is my word and I'm sticking to it. And just keep saying it over and over. And don't let anybody move you from your status or your pedestal, your position, you're standing in court. Don't do it. I said, it's going to be tough, but the more you talk to me, I'm not a huggy-boo guy. I'm going to curse at you. I'm going to get mad at you. I'm going to argue with you. I'm going to make you cry. But you're going to do what I damn well say if you want these freaking kids back. You understand me? But she just got like really confident, and she's kicking ass now and taking names. And that's why I said to the lady, don't kid. Do not listen to any words that are coming out of these people's mouths. Don't cross-examine it. Don't do anything. Don't get wrapped up in their nonsense. Don't do it. It's going to destroy you.
It's hard to stay focused, when you're being, beat upon from all angles.
Oh, yeah, and she did a great job, like I said. It was unbelievable. Because, like I said, my style will make some of these women cry. And I've had some women cry. And you said to me very early when you first started me, you said, Carl, you're very crude, very crude. And like, ma'am, sometimes you got to be crude. You got to be cruel to be kind. Because if these people are not playing patty cake when you go to family court, they want to crucify you. They want your kids destroyed. They want you in a cage. They want to hurt you every which way they can. Believe me, I'm going gentle on you compared to what they're going to do to you in court.
They want to break you.
They're merciless. They're going to destroy you. So I said, that's why you might think I'm a little crude when I talk to these ladies. I was like, hey, I'm telling you, you gotta toughen them up, because this isn't patty cake, and you better not cry in court. You better be strong. And that lady, I guarantee you, the way she talked to us tonight, I guarantee she was shaking in her boots in front of that judge. But I'm sure she was stern, and I'm sure she held her own. And but what's funny, when I'm moving in court, I only move in one direction. I'm always on the attack. I never play defendant. I never answer. I'm the one who's asking the questions. I'm the one who's holding court. It's my freaking court. And boy, they got really upset when she wrote down it was the Arsenal Court at the Queen's Bench. Oh, they went bananas. They were like, "Oh, we don't understand what you mean by the Arsenal Court." Her name is Jessie Arsenal, and Arsenal. The Arsenal Court, yeah. It was like the Queen of England was arriving now in Newfoundland. So the Queen's Court was now at Queen's Bench in New Brunswick. So they went bananas. Because, like I say to folks, look, this is the same way every United States Supreme Court case is written. So if you do like Hale versus Hinkle, if you read the Hale versus Hinkle case, you see the Supreme Court's decision. It'll say in the Hale Court, or it'll say in the Hinkle Court, who's ever moving the claim. They said the United States Supreme finds that in the Hinkle Court of 1902, so they described whoever's the plaintiff, not the plaintiff, sorry about that, whoever's the claimant, it's named, that court is named after them, the guy, because without the claimant, there is no court being held. It's just an empty building waiting for somebody to bring a claim before. So it's whose court is it? And you're going to bring your rules. So she forgot to tell you folks that. We set up a list of rules and how her court was going to be convened and how it's going to be held and how everybody whose role was going to be what. He's going to do this, she's going to do that, they're going to do this, and we'll only accept this. We'll give you, it's so funny, she missed that whole part, but it's on my call. She did it about 2 weeks ago. She said it was hysterical when she was taking all claims from 9 to 9:30. I said, ma'am, I told you make it from 9 to like 12. She said, well, she only wanted to accept claims from 9 o'clock to 10 after 9. I said, man, that's ridiculous. So first what you do is you go to court and you accept all claims to that property. Now, did anybody make a claim to your children that day in court? You noticed the world. Did anybody make a claim for your children? She said, no, nobody came forth with a claim. I said, good. You had the court clerk notice that. Yes, good. See, so like I said, it's a longer process than what she just said tonight on this call. So if you listen back to only on the Thursday night calls, Jessie was on. Don't bother looking for my Monday night call or Saturday call. Don't bother listening to that if you want to know how Jessie did her court. Jessie's whole entire thing from beginning to end is on those calls. On the Thursday night calls at like 7 o'clock.